reached downwards, diving at Wish. He was turning himself visible as he plunged, and turning yourself visible is not as easy or painless as lighting a candle. It looked, indeed, as if the atmosphere itself were being ripped apart like a curtain. As first the head appeared, half melting at the edges, with black sparks and smoke, and then with a terrible smell of burning feathers, the witch himself, screaming like a falcon. Wish ducked automatically. The witch had been aiming straight for her head, intending to tear it off. Dear little creatures, these witches, aren't they? But Zara and the Snowcats leapt the mightiest leaps they had ever leaped, and they caught the diving witch by his tail. So instead, the witch's talons scraped across Wish's face, ripping off her eye patch as the witch soared up into the air, and Wish yelled and put her hands over her head as he fell to the floor. With a furious scream, the witch shook off Zara and the Snowcats, swirling around viciously, and turned to attack the insignificant and irritating human boy who had shoved the sword in the stone and frustrated its pursuit of Wish. The witch smiled. Oh, by mistletoe and all things sweet and juicy and poisonous, a witch's grin is a fearsome thing. He unhinged his jaws so that he could swallow Zara in one gulp. There's the witch. Oh my goodness, the hot witch's breath reeked so revoltingly of rotten eggs and death that Zara nearly passed out from the stink of it. At least I'm going to die gloriously, thought Zara through his terror. Not like some kind of an entity. I'll be the first person to be killed by a witch in hundreds and hundreds of years. How like Zara to be thinking of fame and glory even at the point of death. The witch swooped this time he would not miss. Chapter 21 is called Wishing. Bodkin shouted, "No!" Over in the other corner of the room, Bodkin saw Wish uncurl her hands from over her face. She lifted her head, and she too shouted, "No!" The witch had torn off her eye patch, and it had fallen to the floor. Wish's eye, that was normally hidden underneath the eye patch, was closed, and there was a deep scratch over it. It was ever so slightly larger than the other eye, and all around the edge was a deep purple-blue bruise, as if the poor human skin found the burning force of it difficult to bear. As Wish shouted, she opened her eyelid just a tiny, tiny crack, and the colour of the eye underneath was very odd indeed. It was a colour that no one had ever seen before, a hitherto unimagined colour. I can't describe it apart from comparing it to other things. It was a colour that managed to be both warm and cold at the same time, a colour that reminded you of volcanoes, of thunderstorms, of electricity, of power. Wish could feel the power within her, and it was truly terrifying, a rage and a riot, a thunderstorm in her head, so violent it made her head ache as if goblins were hammering it from the inside. The individual hairs on her head twitched upwards vertically in the air. A confused, sickening wind ricocheted around the room, sending the sprites and the feathers and the dust bowling through the air, and the floor bent and shivered like it was a nauseous sea. In the depths of that extraordinary eye, strange clouds formed like the beginning and the churning and the building of ideas, and there was a tiny slapping noise, and the magic screamed out of Wish's eye. The eye patch was hiding a magic eye. So forcefully you could see the impossible colour of it in the shape of a bent and twisted star, hitting the witch at exactly the same moment that the witch pointed its taloned finger to shoot one piercing blast of white-hot magic back at Wish. And then bang! The witch exploded into a mass of charcoal and black feathers. Bodkin and Zara and the Snowcats were blown off their feet. The dust and feathers of the witch fell through the air like dark rain. That's her magic exploding, and there are the feathers falling like dark rain. Wow. Chapter 22 we'll have tomorrow, making amends and paying the price.